Well, my name is Margaret N. Windsor, and this is me. And I was kidnapped in 1941 from Buckingham Palace, brought to Molson, Alabama. As far as I can tell, it's a Cortland Air Base that was being built or just been built there. It's way out in the boonies back then, excuse me. But that's what they made me look like. Judy Canova used to play a character like Hillbilly, and this is how they tried to make me appear. All right, I should have a British accent. Well, I'm sorry, but I got kidnapped by my Uncle George, Elizabeth's father, and my dad, King Edward VIII, was taken down because he's a decent man. He was married to my mom. Legally, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, and this is my Aunt George. I will show this artist, and my mom was Irish Catholic American, married to my father. And I'm going to say this, this was the double that Wallace Simpson was supposed to marry my father, and he was supposed to have abdicated. And this is the double that married her. None of that's true. So your history has been totally a lie, with so many people know it. A 99-year seal put on it, and I was born in 39. And here's a picture of George, Uncle George, who became George the Sixth. Had the movie made about him where he's glorified, and Elizabeth. They sold out Great Britain. They are illegal. All the treaties are illegal. She's living on my money. By the way, she's got the crown jewels, which I hadn't thought about until somebody said that to me. So she's a money hungry, whether you like her or not. It's sad. It's my money. It was my right and my father's, not theirs. And you can bet I would never have given away my country. Never. And my hopes are that I can repay them. Now, I'm going to jump to, I wrote a book on mind control, and mind control, these are mind control murders. I'm not going to get into it. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, while I was doing the book on mind control, MD license to kill, which I had antifreeze put in me. And obviously a lot happened, and I didn't get to, did work for the DA after then, and Fred Simpson, I was taken over the state line April 1st of 80s when they did it to me, because it's all a joke that they could do it. The Kennedys, he was ambassador to Great Britain. He helped in my kidnapping, the old man, and JFK and the older son Joe actually made speeches, or one of them at least made one before the House of Commons, and they almost actually went over and took over everything, plus kidnapping me. So they can fly. I don't know if they were the ones that flew me in, but they were sure flying in and out of the UK and England back then, and the embassy. So I'm going to, this was Flint, did an article when I ran for U.S. Congress and then President in 84, April. And he was shot, and the person was programmed. He even mentions Larry McDonald, whose plane went down August the 31st of 83, and I became a candidate and was flown out to Flint. And, it goes on from there. And then I found out about my kidnapping from the British, by the way. Now, I wanted to go to this. They're talking about, and so much media is being given to Mike Brown, the young man that was shot up in Ferguson, Missouri. All along, not just being kidnapped and given another name, and I want to get back to, if anybody cares to go and look, there's a 99-year seal put on my kidnapping, my birth, and my birthright, Victoria II, and the illegal takedown of my father. My God, it was an imposter that married Simpson. So I would like for people to look at all the treaties. What happened became Israel after the treaties, after the takedown of my father, and all the treaties and the birth of the United Nations. The Americans and the people that kidnapped me, the Baltimore Americans, the New World Order, the Freemasons, Illuminati, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Kennedys, Now then, later, before I found out about my name in '83, and before I had a lot done to me on a daily basis. You talk about civil rights. I've never had any, and the law's broken. But I'll just go and say this. Martin Luther King, that was a mind control murder, and that James Earl Ray and all that. And Andrew Young, who became ambassador to the UN under Carter, and helped broker things that caused the overthrow of Africa, and where the United States has moved in looking like the savior when they're nothing but a bunch of low-life crooks. Sick. You talk about savage. They just did it all high-tech. So a crook's a crook and a killer's a killer. One nation under God, right? Wonder what he has to say about it. Anyway, I wanted to get to this. Eric Holder and Obama are Johnny on the spot with this one. What's everybody going to say if they ever can focus, and I'm alive, on what they did on a daily basis, the massacre they did to my sons Mark and Scott and to me, and to my father and mother. A takedown, stolen identity, everything. But anyway, it allowed, my Uncle George signed the treaties illegally and allowed the United States to put military bases all over British soil and hold hostage the British and me. And then they also, my family that are monarchs in Denmark, Sweden, Netherlands, I left out Denmark, Sweden, Norway, they were kind of caught and held hostage too because of the positioning. Because if you take over and put your bases all over British soil, you pretty much got it. So anybody can look and see that, and why is a 99-year seal on it? Now, what I wanted to get to was in by the way, mind control, they put chips in people back then, root canals. One of the doctors that I worked for, cardiovascular, which was how I found out. I knew there were murders and all this was being done. I just didn't know the mechanism till then. That's mind control and programming. But anyway, one of the doctors the cardiovascular doctor put a chip in a heart bypass. And he was head of a huge corporation, so you can control his decision making. He thinks it's his. Or you can program someone to go out to kill. And since the Tesla files, they were stolen in about 30, and you could create illnesses and you can also cure them. So just look at the aftermath if they didn't need medicine and all this. So I'll get off that. What I wanted to say here was what happened to me. I had my two sons, and I felt slightly depressed. I don't know how that was done. I thought it was because of the life I grew up. And I went to a Jew psychiatrist in Huntsville, Alabama. Now then, if this had been done to a Jew, what they've done to me, or a black, you would have hell to pay. Yet everybody hates me. They don't want to hear it because they're Americans, and they, quite frankly, most of them don't give a damn. It's a joke. Hyman Miller gave me drugs, him and his Jew anesthesiologist, Berg, that was enough to kill me. Illegal, because I was never that, and that's since been proven it was total lie, the diagnosis. Murder, really. He gave me shock. You call it therapy? You want to know the truth about it, is it was illegal drugs, it was illegal everything. It was nothing but torture. And if you can imagine not only what it did to me, what it did to my son's relationship, and then later what they did to my sons. Now that I wrote the book in 76, 79 about mind control, and I started finding out about Martin Luther King and Mrs. King and Reverend Andy Young, and they all knew about me before I did. They knew that I was a legitimate monarch. They all brokered and partnered with the New World Order, the Kennedys, the Jews, to take over South Africa and Africa, because that belonged to the British. It was British colonies, and part of my family's, and also Portugal, okay, Denmark, Danes, all that. So the takeover of South Africa, and they go in pretending to be the good guys. So I'm sure there was some